But I'm still going to do the smile and wave. Right here. I'm going to do this smile and wave. And I'll do it for as long as I possibly can. And I hope you will too. And even if you just use the emojis, I've had people do that. Just use their emojis and do smile and wave. Hello everybody. It is actually quite warm today compared to what we've been used to. So to us it almost feels hot. At least more so than we're used to. I love to sit on this swing. And I know I'm like this with the camera. So if that's bugging anybody, if it's giving you vertigo, then let me know and I'll bring a chair over. Because I can't seem to not swing on this thing. He's riding his bike down the sidewalk. Uh-oh. I think it might have been brother that tipped him over. Oops. We have not been in Nebraska. We have not been given a stay-at-home order. We are practicing social distancing, we're getting all the news, we're getting all the warnings, we're doing as much of the stay-at-home as a lot of people are. There are some of the larger cities that are now. Lincoln is, and so is Omaha, of course. But I did a video here, it's been a little over a week ago. And it's got some misunderstanding to it because there were places already then that were locked down or had curfews or where their governor had ordered the whole state to shelter in place or stay at home orders. And those don't mean you can't go out for like essentials, at least not in Kansas. I'm in Nebraska, but my son's in Kansas. And I think his job is still open, and so he's still working. And there's, now like where my husband works, I'm not going to tell you where, but where he does work, it's a facility where there are people being cared for or looked over, and so he needs to be there. He's not in the main facility, but he is in contact with people who are in the main facility. So we are even very careful here in our house. The video I made was about being able to get out in your own vehicle, and it was an idea my cousin had at the time. And in this town where I grew up, there is what we call the round square. Or going around the square, because it's very wide, and for years people have been able to like stop in places and talk, but the idea was not to do that, but to just be able to go by and see family and other people, friends, and just be able to smile and wave out your car window, or be distanced far enough where you could talk to each other, like 10 feet away from your vehicle. Nobody was to get outside of their vehicle. Nobody get outside of their own vehicle. That was a couple of weeks ago. Things have been changing very quickly with this virus. And we have just this past week, I think, there was one case in our county, and then I think this last weekend or this last couple days there was another one. So there have so far been 2 in our county. Now I think ours is the 3rd most populated county, but we're still very, we have a lot of remote areas. where we would be in danger is from people going, like, working in other cities and that kind of stuff. But there's people who have to work, and they have to work around people. So they are taking extra precautions, and I applaud them, because they are in the hospitals, they are in the nursing homes, they are in the other facilities like people who serve special needs. And those people, there are populations that live in those places and have to have somebody there to serve them. So I applaud all of them. And we all should. Yes, I am but I'm not going to live my life in fear. Yeah, I am in the danger zone. My husband just came home. I helped him with a little something that, where I was actually touching him, and where he works, it was like, okay, let's not touch my face, let's go wash my hands. And we're careful, because he wears a mask all day at work, and even though he's not in, working with the general population, he is working in a warehouse where they do take things up to the main buildings. So I did not mean that anybody should break any legal or even suggested things that they feel are necessary. If you are very happy staying at home in your own home and never seeing and never going outside, or even if you just do go outside for a little bit and you just don't feel the need for other people, I give my hat is off to you, because that's something rare. I think that people need to be at least able to see one another. Now, the way I'm communicating with my children and other people is by phone, over the internet, and it just depends on which one and how it works best for them. Some it's best if I call them, and I have to be careful when I call them. And I've got one that she will not, generally she doesn't talk a lot one-on-one. She's just that kind of like her dad. But if I text her, she will very well communicate, because she's able to think out what she's saying. I think she's just one of those, like my husband, who has to think out her words. I don't have that problem. I should do that more, but I've got that mind that just works with my mouth. It sometimes gets me in trouble. So anyway, to clear that up, I just want to let you know that we had not been in any kind of a situation at that time, either here or in that other place, where we were told that we had to be sheltered in place, or that we had to a stay-at-home order. Now, Kansas has now issued that, but it's, of course, people can go out and get groceries if they need to, and that kind of thing. So here, they have not yet ordered that, and the governor has not ordered that. He is expecting us to be faithful, and if we're not, then definitely they will. So, but mayors are, doing that themselves. We have to remember that we're human. We do need to be very careful. I am not denying that one bit. We do need to be very careful, and I am. Generally, I'm only here on my back porch, occasionally in the car. But I haven't even been in the car for a while. It'd be nice to get out and go for a drive, though. But if you don't give yourself a little at least being able to sit out on your porch and yell at the neighbor across the street for a chat, sooner or later the country's going to go nuts and everybody's just going to forget it. Let's get out and, watch some videos of those who went through the influenza pandemic right after World War II in 1918. There are videos on YouTube. We are living in a much better time to go through something like this. I am so happy I didn't live then when they had their pandemic, because more than likely I'd already be dead. They didn't have any of the technology, or not nearly as much. They did not understand the way germs were passed, not nearly to the extent they do now. So let's do everything we can to keep from passing this to anybody else or to catch it ourselves. But let's be reasonable and realize we are human. And that's not an excuse to go out and do something, but it is okay to say hi to a neighbor when they're in their yard and you're in yours. At least if it's at least 10 feet apart. So hello neighbors. I say from inside my safe front porch. I hope you watched yesterday. I was out in the backyard. That corn that Joe put up there was a squirrel out there this morning. I didn't take a camera out. We've got that footage of the one where Joe got the footage. But that ear corn that he put up there yesterday, I think we do have one squirrel after that corn. And he's getting fat. But he was munching on it pretty good this morning. And then when Joe got home, he said, look, there's a squirrel out there right now. And I said, yeah, there was one this morning. And I looked out there. Well, the squirrel was gone by the time I got the gumption to look out the window. But there was like just a strip of kernels around the center of that. They will hang off the end of the garage roof to get to that. And but the walnut tree's gone now, and he raked up all the walnuts, so now they're after that corn. There is a walnut tree in the neighbor's yard, but I think they've probably cleared up their walnuts because I think they dropped in the fall. It is good to see the people outside with their kids in their own yard. Kids riding up down the sidewalk in front of their house. I just love seeing that. There's nobody out well, there's one kid now. And there's nobody out near him. Nobody within any kind of distance of him, other than maybe 100 feet back to his house. And the others are on the porch just doing their thing. And for me, that just gives me life. Just to see that. They're not being dangerous at all. They're just enjoying their yard. And I can see that, and it just lifts my heart because there's still life out there. And we can actually see that life out there. I see these pictures of these videos streaming on different places of empty streets in New York and empty streets in all these major cities and stuff, and it's like, it just is so disheartening. But I'm going to tell you a little story I heard from my pastor. And it was not a dangerous thing that they did. But in Italy, at a certain time of day or evening, people were going out on their balconies, their own balconies, spaced well apart, and everybody would sing. Now, song and music it is a way of communicating with your own soul, with other people's souls. When you raise that many voices up in song, Nobody cares if you're on or off key. It gives at least somewhat of a communal feeling. I'm not going to hold that against them. Because they're not the ones who are sick. They're not passing it to anybody else, even if they would have a minor thing of it. They're just enjoying a time of singing together from their own balconies. I can't fault that. But I'm still going to do the smile and wave. Right here. I'm going to do this smile and wave. And I'll do it for as long as I possibly can. And I hope you will too. And even if you just use the emojis, I've had people do that. Just use their emojis and do smile and wave. I was a little envious today. I was watching Kepper outdoors. He was out on his bobcat and he was picking up all these dead limbs and stuff and piling them up off in a clearing. And it's kind of dry, he said, right now. It's not going to burn right now, but I was just so jealous. He's got all that room to get out there and roam and never be on anybody's property but his own. And I thought, and then I thought of yesterday. I thought of yesterday, this is needing Vaseline. Joe put Vaseline on these hooks last summer and it really quieted him down. But I didn't care about the houses around me so much. You know, the neighbor drove by, I waved at him, but I was looking at the squirrels and the birds, and there were a lot of birds. And they don't know that it's quarantined down here. They're just out there being free. They're doing what animals do. So I don't know. To me, at this point, if they can find the origination, where this originated, that would be great because it gives us history. It gives us a way of knowing how it can happen. If they can nail that down. But right now, I think anybody who is healthy and who is observing all of the cautions, just be happy in your day. Be happy in your surroundings. Be happy you've got food to eat, because there's people who don't. I don't know what people who are homeless are doing. I think about them. I pray about them. And one last thought. I said something about this on Facebook, and I want to say it here. Pray love over Washington, D.C., and over our government. Pray love over the hate. We have to stop the hate. Divisions, there's always going to be divisions. There's always going to be debate. But do pray over the rancor and the hate. God bless you. I'm losing my card. And it may be gone. Good night.